development, resource development, and collaboration. So Healthy Aging Alberta is responsible for the CORE Alberta Platform. There's also the national platform and the BC platform for CORE. So Healthy Aging Alberta is a network of community-based senior serving organizations across Alberta. They have a shared vision to make Alberta one of the best places in the world to grow older. And together, they create the infrastructure that connects us to increase the collaborative impact. So on our Intergenerational Linkages community practice team, we have Betty Good, who is an intergenerational trainer and consultant with Good Links IG practice in Calgary. Myself, Jane Atkins, co-chair of Sundre Senior Spruce Society out of Sundre. Stephanie Banksky is our Healthy Aging Alberta Engagement and Communications Specialist. And Rochelle Patil is a social gerontologist for NORC Innovation Center at the University Health Network in Toronto.
Okay, over to me. So as you know, the topic for today is what is the impact that intergenerational programs and intergenerational friendships have on youth when they are choosing their careers. And I have a number of stories because I've been involved in this work and with teenagers for almost 10 years now. And I know of a number of people that have chosen healthcare and medicine as their long-term career or their career goal because of having been in an intergenerational program. And so one thing I want to mention right at the beginning is when I emailed, I said we were going to hear from Rochelle, and we're going to hear from Clara, and we're going to hear from George. Now, George, because he's in an internship right now, he texted me last night, and I knew he was going to be on standby because this is his lunch hour. And he said he may have to work. So last night he texted, he said, it's a brutal internship. Either he's working during his lunch hour or he has to watch webinars or they have meetings. And so he's not available. But if we have time later, I have his story. I can tell you his story. But just so that you know, he's not available today. But who is available, and I'm so excited, is Clara. Clara is in grade 12. If you look at the picture on the left, she's the one that's standing up. And the picture on the right, she's the one standing up. She started, I'm going to let her tell you how she started in the intergenerational programs, but now she has been on the leadership team in this high school club. You have to apply if you want to be on the leadership team. And then the teacher and myself choose the students who are going to be leaders. And then I do a training with them in the fall. And then they're part of a team that actually run the club with my support and the teacher's support in the background. So Clara, I'm going to stop sharing and we are going to hear from Clara herself. So Clara, just a second, let me get Clara, where are you? So Clara, I have a question to get you started. And I want you to introduce yourself and tell us, how long have you been involved in intergenerational programs?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. Hi, I'm Clara. As Miss Betty's already said, I'm in grade 12. I've been involved in intergenerational activities since, I would say since like grade 10, maybe even before grade 9. And it didn't just start with like the intergenerational club that we run at our school, but just things even outside, like senior homes, or just like teaching computer to like different generations. So it's like it's been a thing in the making for a long time now. But I think what really like kind of solidified it for me and like really got me like into it more was being part of the club that we have at our school. So yeah, that's kind of how it started for me.
Okay, before I ask you the next question, I want to let them know that you are skipping a class so that you can be here and sharing with us, and we really appreciate it. Is that why you're sitting in a vehicle?
That is.
Are you out in the parking lot?
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what's happening. I'm just sitting in my car. But
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for sacrificing your class to come and talk to us. Okay, so I've got so my next question is, you're on the leadership team at this, no, let me go back. You said it started before you joined the Intergenerational Club because you did other things. How did you get to volunteer with older adults before you even got into the club? How did that happen?
So fun fact, I actually know George. So he was supposed to, I didn't even know he was coming to this, but I know George. So I remember texting him and being like, hey, like I was just wondering if you have any ideas for me to I've just been meaning to go out and do something. So like, do you have any suggestions? And he suggested this home that we have in, I'm pretty sure, like I don't know, Country Hills, something like that, and it's called Bethany. So it is a home for seniors with dementia, and so that's where I kind of got started, and I really liked doing it. So I thought, why not get into this club? This seems like really down my alley, you know? So that's how it started.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know you knew George. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then you started out, you were in the program. I was facilitating at the time, and you were in the program and spending time with older adults every 2 weeks throughout the whole school year. Then in grade 11, you applied to be on the leadership team. Why'd you do that?
I honestly wasn't in the club even in grade 10. So my first time hearing about it was in grade 11. And I remember walking into like the classroom and you were introducing the club. And I thought, why not? It's like a good opportunity for me to kind of build on my leadership skills, build on my talking skills. I mean, if you know me, I kind of before this club started, I was a little more shy, a little bit more like I did not take lead, I guess. So I thought, like, why not apply for it, see where it gets me, join the leadership team. Even if I don't get the position, I could totally just join. I thought it was a good opportunity for me.
Well, obviously you made an impression because we accepted you. Okay. Okay. So because we're talking about career, how this has impacted you, and you're in grade 12, and it has this impacted you in your career choice going forward, and how?
Right. So, actually, a few months back, we had to make our applications for university, and I remember sitting there and being like, okay, I know I want some form of medicine. That is like that's been a thing for me since like a long time. But just really working with the older generation kind of like made me realize that like I wanted to focus more in that generation. Like, so I decided for university I would apply to kinesiology, which is kind of the study of movement, the study of sports medicine, which is I need. I don't know if you know this, but to get into med school, I applied to kinesiology as an undergrad. So, and I was really focused on kind of the brain portion of it and like just all of that stuff, especially after being part of this program and going to Bethany's home for dementia. So that kind of built up, and it made me realize like we could do more to help. So it kind of got me started onto the whole medicine path sort of thing. So yeah.
So what's your long-term goal?
My long-term goal. So of course, first of all, it's hopefully getting into med school. That's well, like the career type thing. But also, I'd like to potentially participate in like research and just like ways of like improving our society today, and like kind of like I know there are a lot of issues, and like hopefully when we do grow up, I know I'm gonna be old, like hopefully we'll reach the age of 50 or higher, and I just know that like someone's got to be out there to look out for us. So if I start now, it's like I'm helping myself too in the future, if that makes sense. So long-term goal would be to kind of make some research and make a difference in hopefully in advancements in not just medicine. I mean, of course, medicine, but just programs. I mean, maybe open, like, I mean, this club has been like such a great opportunity for me. I feel like we could start stuff like this kind of everywhere, just to like build kind of like onto all these relationships. I mean, me and my grandpa are really, really close. So I feel like we could totally do all of this like more, I guess.
Clara, you cut out there for a minute after you said me and my grandpa are really close. Can you repeat that?
Oh yes. So I was just saying how like because me and my grandpa are so close, I feel like we could develop relationships kind of like those, kind of more citywide, more worldwide. This could totally like grow. So I feel like we could start programs like these. That's kind of a long-term goal, or just find solutions to a lot of the problems we kind of face with the whole older generation with and youth type thing. So that's kind of my long-term goal. Let's hope it goes that way. But yeah.
Wow. Clara, I'm so impressed by your maturity and the way you think, but also your insight, because I read an essay that you had done applying for a scholarship. And in there, you mentioned that you thought intergenerational work could change the world. And I believe that too. And I think everybody on this call believes that, because we're all interested or doing intergenerational work. So let's all give Clara a hand, because she's going to change the world. One intergenerational friendship, one intergenerational program at a time. Okay, so another question, why? Well, you probably already answered that. You did mention about the intergenerational approach to solve problems kind of thing. Why do you think intergenerational friendships and programs are important for everybody? At least I got the impression you think they're important for everybody.
Yeah. So I could show you guys something. I did a presentation maybe a week ago, and it was I joined this competition. It was called a speech competition, and they told me it's called the four-way test. Okay, and they told me anytime we come with, is it beneficial to others? And kind of forgetting the last one, but just those are kind of the beginning questions to it. And they told me you can apply it to any topic of your choice and go ahead and make a speech about it and how you can answer these four questions. So, of course, I kind of picked the topic of just ageism and the generational barrier in our society. So I was like, that's what I'll write about, since I know a good amount on it. I did. So I went and presented, got second place. So it was a nice kind of opportunity for me. And I'm not saying this to kind of like brag or anything. I'm saying it because like when making the speech, like it got me kind of to think more on like how this could potentially change later on in the years. And so I think intergenerational relationships are important because like we're so focused in our society today
Okay,
to,
hang on
and
for a
that's me,
second.
like I'm
Clara, hang on, because you cut out again. So can you start again? Intergenerational relationships are, what did you say after that?
yeah, so I said intergenerational relationships are very important in our society today because um we're just so like I feel like nowadays we're just so focused on hanging out with friends and going out and just like especially social media nowadays. And I'm not against that. I'm the type of person who will go out with my friends and all of that, but I think sometimes we do need to take like a step back and just kind of learn from like people who have a different point of view. So I feel like just building onto that relationship can help you like talk it out with someone who's probably been through way more than you and can give you like a little bit of insight into what you can do to like change um to like what you can do to and like going forward, right? So like I'll even sometimes I'll go to my grandpa. I'm like, hey grandpa, just had a question, like I'm supposed to go do a presentation tomorrow, do you have any tips for me? And he will tell me, okay, well, back then, of course, we didn't have presentations like or PowerPoint slides. So you need to memorize it by heart. You need to make sure you know all the parts. You like don't rely on technology. It's not going to help you in the so just like those different kind of points of view are like super important to help you go forward, I think.
That's amazing. Okay, I don't have any more questions. I'm going to open it up and let the participants ask questions. But before I do you have any last words that you want to say? So remember, the people you're talking to right now, we are all in organizations or we're volunteering someplace, but we are all interested in intergenerational work. So what kind of advice would you as a student have for us?
Okay, advice. Not
Or
much advice, more of a suggestion is um like I know lots of people my age now are kind of looking for ways to get involved, but they just like don't know how to. They're just sitting there waiting for something to kind of come up to them, like opportunities to present itself. So I feel like if you guys are looking into intergenerational work, um, it's worth a shot to kind of like broadcast it to different schools or universities or stuff like that. I know it's already happening, but just kind of more because people are looking for it. Like you might not think so, but I know a lot of people who are interested in this sort of thing. And I feel like it would be nice to kind of get them involved. So, yes,
wow,
that's
that's a
kind of
great
it.
suggestion. Thanks, Clara. Everybody, give her a hand. So I'm going to open it up. If you have, and once we're finished, Clara has to get back to her class, but she's not rushing away. So go ahead. Just who has a question for Clara?
Hi, Clara. This is Paula Morrison. I'm in Kelowna, and I'm wondering if there's something you would have liked to known about your volunteering experience before you started. Like,
Okay, yeah. Well, our club, I know it runs every 2 weeks. I think it would have been nice to know just like how going into it, like especially like on the leadership team, there is a lot of planning that goes
Clara, we can't hear you.
But I think I just didn't know how like independent we have to be. And I'm totally for it now, but just when I
Okay,
began,
Clara, hang on.
oh,
You cut out again. So can you start that answer again?
Maybe if you turn your video off, Clara, although we love seeing you, it might help.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's better.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
yeah.
So I was saying how much work goes into it. That's kind of what I wish I knew before I kind of came into it. I knew that being on the leadership team, like obviously a lot of work goes into it, but just like how independent you have to be to kind of lead these type of activities. And just like being able to connect with all sorts of people. I mean, like each person in our club has a totally different personality. Like we have a guy called Paul who's out there and will say the most crazy things all the time. And then we have like Tony who's really quiet and like you have to speak to him like one on one. So it's just that type of relationship that I wish I kind of like understood before I went in there. I had to kind of learn on my feet and adapt, but just knowing that before could have like kind of made me ready for it. But yeah.
Wow, Paula, thanks for asking that question because Clara, you just gave me great feedback for what I need to do.
Yeah, and thank you, Clara. Good work. It is inspiring. Someone mentioned that in the chat that you're inspiring, and it is because it's encouraging that we just need to find those spaces to work together. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions for Clara?
Clara, it's Lynn in Vancouver. I'm very curious about your experience working when you were doing the volunteering in the senior center. And if you have some stories about what you learned there and obviously what brought you and inspired you to go into medicine.
Okay, before you answer that, let me just tell them about where you volunteer. Where she volunteers, it's a long-term care center that if the only way you can be a resident there is if you have mid to late stage dementia. So that's the environment she was volunteering in. Okay, go ahead, Clara.
Yeah. So like when I first got started in this place, they gave us kind of a crash course on what dementia is, what the effects are, how to deal with it. That was kind of our intro session. And they ran us through all of like the symptoms and the signs. And I remember thinking like, hey, this is really cool. Like, why hasn't someone found some sort of cure for this by now? Like our technology is already so advanced and somehow we still have like issues like these. Like that was crazy to me. So and then when I started volunteering like hands-on, like I would do art projects with them or feeding or whatever it was that they asked me to do. I just like began to see kind of their point of view, their like how they go about their day and how it's kind of just I don't want it to sound bad, but just kind of repetitive every day. It's kind of the same sort of like schedule and like there's kind of nothing different. So it kind of got me thinking like if if we could find a solution to that, if we could like I think even me being there kind of changed up their schedule for the day. Like it just wow, someone new to talk to me or to hang out with me. So I feel like that just made me want to join medicine more. If anything, it made me like think well, like we could make some advancements. Like we still have such a long way to go that like they could use a hand or two. I could be in there. I could be a doctor and hopefully somehow contribute to all those little problems, right? So, yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll maybe ask because I know that there's programs with much younger students. What do you think about that, Clara? Do you wish that maybe you had had that opportunity when you were a bit younger?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd encourage it almost for any age. But again, you can't expect the same from people in high school as the same from kids in elementary. Obviously, it's not going to be the same type of program or anything, but just like junior high for sure could do something similar to this. They could um, meet with seniors, but like not as much responsibility, maybe make like bigger groups of students to one senior. That way, they like they're like comfortable, if that makes sense. And then elementary students, of like, sure, you could totally get them on this. It's just a little bit harder for them, I think, to, I mean, they're just starting to like learn how to make friendships and like go out there. So I feel like putting them in that situation might be a little like overwhelming. So maybe just um like I, the mentorship portion of it is great. I feel like, again, the older generation has so much to kind of give off and like give us more insight, so they could do that. But there is a certain age you should start, which should not be like when you're super little, I feel. But yeah, I would totally recommend it for like even younger than now. Like I would have liked to start earlier if I could have, if that was like an option for me. But yes.
Thank you.
That was a good question. Before I turn it over to Diane, Clara, you weren't volunteering at Harvest Hills Bethany when this was happening, but a number of years ago, the organization I was working for, we had a program where we took junior high students over to that care center every Monday after school, and it was amazing. Yeah. Okay, Diane, question?
Yes. Hi, Clara. It's Deanne here from Victoria. And I just think you inspire, and you should be very proud of yourself for what you are doing and what you're accomplishing, and your aspirations. Our daughter is very has a similar experience to yours, and I just wrote in the chat she's doing kinesiology at UVic, and she hopes to go into occupational therapy and hopes to work with older adults as well, because she was inspired by the intergenerational experience in her high school and volunteering. And so if you ever want to connect with somebody that is your age, I'm happy to make that link. My question is, do you think that your experience has sort of turned heads because it's leadership but in action that you are demonstrating at your school, but have teachers or the school board noticed your aspirations and your leadership to maybe widen the program or bring it into maybe elementary schools or middle schools leading up to grade 12, and how that might shape sort of a bigger program based on your experience?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, I think it's so cool that there's someone out there who is in a similar situation to me. So yes, I definitely love to connect with her. Again, if med school doesn't work out for me, I'm also into the occupational therapy type route as well. So to answer your question about my leadership into all of this and like applying it, as I've already mentioned, I've been like being part of this program, again, built on my leadership skills, my talking skills, my kind of taking initiative skills. Again, I like we're our like the leadership team is in charge of planning an activity for like every meeting. So I feel like I got more creative as the program went on. I came up with more ideas, more ways to get people like engaged. And so I school has recognized this, I think, The teacher running it definitely has seen this, has seen me definitely grow. And it kind of pushed me to also do other leadership things in my school. Like I'm also like I'm the VP of the volunteer club that we have at our school. So we go out food banks and like charities and all of that sort of stuff. So it kind of got me more involved into other school activities. Like this was like kind of the beginning of it for me, and then it kind of grew from there. They even like they put me in the running for valedictorian, so we will see. But it just kind of got me started into that whole path, and hopefully like I could bring this kind of club into light and kind of make it grow into junior highs and elementaries and all that sort of stuff. So like I hopefully this program will definitely continue after I've graduated from here. We have a grade 10 on our leadership team and grade 11, so they will hopefully kind of continue to run it even after like I've gone. And then university, I really hope to sort of open some sort of branch into it as well. I don't know if there's already one over there, but if there isn't, I feel like we could also open one over there, and then hopefully grow from there, be able to maybe incorporate it into other types of schools. I think so far in Calgary, like, I'm not sure how many we have. I want to say like 3 or 4. You can correct me on that, Miss Betty, but I feel like that could totally grow like more, and not just in high schools. Like so far I know that we have it in high schools, but junior highs, I could totally get involved in trying to make it happen. Like I know a lot of junior highs, I know the principals over there, so maybe we could somehow incorporate it over there. So that is kind of how my leadership, I would say, definitely grew. Yeah, so hopefully we can take more initiative.
Clara, what university are you going to?
U of C.
Okay, there's a club there.
There is? Sounds
There
great.
is a club there. Yes. Yeah. So we will talk. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and you mentioned 3 clubs. So for the rest of you in Calgary, we have 5 intergenerational clubs. We have 2 junior high, 2 high school, and 1 university. Yeah,
Mhm.
and the high school is where we recruit leaders, and the leaders run the clubs with the support of the teacher and myself in the background. And then the 2 junior highs, it's the teachers at the school along with the either like one goes to a retirement center, and so the activity coordinator collaborates with her, and the other one goes to a care center, and the rec therapist, they collaborate. And of course, I visit as much as I can and I support them. Yeah. And any more questions before we let Clara go back to class? Any comments for Clara?
I just wish you all the best. It sounds like you're on an incredible path. So we're here behind you and supporting you. I think it's fantastic. Thanks for coming, Clara.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed talking about my experience with you guys. And I hope, I mean, I definitely learned a lot through this program. So I know you're all somehow leading programs just like those. So I really appreciate what you are all doing.
Wish you all the best, Clara.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we are
Oh.
all women. I think we're all women here. Wouldn't you be proud to have Clara as your daughter? Like as a mom, Clara, your parents must be really proud of you. Okay.
Thank you.
So Clara, thank you so much. And unless somebody else jumps in to say anything, we will let you go. But I really appreciate you being just so open and taking time away from class, because I know you're going to have to make it up. And thank you for being so mature. I don't know what else to say. You are just so mature and so insightful. And yeah, you're going to go places. And I will see you next Monday.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay. Okay. Bye, Clara. Thanks.
So now we're
Okay.
going to move on to a video from one of our community of practice members, Rochelle Patil. And she's a community connector at the Naturally Occurring Retirement Communities Innovation Center at the University Health Center in Toronto. And she had a passion for working with older adults, and she's continuing it. And we have a video that we're going to show you about her adventures that she's taken to where she is now in her position.
So Jane, I was trying to do something else at the beginning. Did you mention she's part of our planning team?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's hope once the video starts, can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you can hear it? Okay, I just have to find it.
Hi everyone. Thanks so much for inviting me here today to chat about my experience around getting involved with intergenerational connections and activities, and where this interest kind of came from. And so Betty encouraged me to do this video, so here we are today. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I'm happy to tell my story. So I grew up in a family a little bit differently. So I'm an only child. I'm the youngest in my family by 15 years. And so my grandparents were in their 70s when I was born. And I was just around older people my whole life. And I really wasn't around younger individuals. I was always the youngest one. And I was always really, really fascinated around their changes, how we maybe looked different, moved different. And I never said anything, but I was always just attuned to it. I was always just asking myself questions, not them questions yet, but very, very curious. I spent lots of time with my grandparents. I understand that that is an absolute privilege, and I'm so happy I had that privilege. I would spend summers, weekends with the both of them. My grandmother on my dad's side was only 30 minutes away, and then my grandparents on my mom's side, so her parents were just an hour away. So I was really around them a lot, and they helped me in my growing up tremendously. And story sharing was huge as well. So my grandparents would share stories with me about their lives. Most of the time it was usually funny or jokes, but sometimes it was sad because they both were around the time, living around the time of World War II in Europe. My one side's Italian and my one side's German, so there's lots of stories there. One cool fact is that my grandmother, she's the Italian side, she didn't really speak English by the time I was born. She was kind of regressing in her memory, and Italian was her first language, a specific dialect in Italian actually, which I now know that is a dialect. And I was actually able to learn Italian to communicate with my grandmother. So the only way we could kind of communicate is through me kind of learning these words, figuring it out. She didn't really speak Italian, really English anymore, sorry. And then I actually took it in school when I was doing my undergrad, and so I formalized that knowledge a little bit, and now I still practice as much as I can even after she's not with us anymore. But all these experiences led me to really be interested in helping people, but I didn't want to be a doctor and I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I was really interested in how everyone's life trajectories are kind of different and everyone's personal situations, social or health, are different. So I studied public health at Brock University in Ontario. And in that program, I came across the gerontology course and I was like, what is this? I didn't know this was a thing. And as soon as I entered that course, the professor said, okay, write down why you're here on this cue card. And I could not stop writing. And I went, okay, this is it. Like, I must have found my space. I was able to reflect on my life, all the things that I've shared with you with my grandparents and how much it meant to me. And then I was like, wow, I can actually study this. I can actually study intergenerational connections. And it doesn't have to be on my experience, but it can be on others' experiences and how this impacts older adults, how this impacts younger people, how this impacts parents. I'm just so curious. So what I did was I tailored that degree and I decided, okay, I'm going to continue my education. I want to focus just on intergenerational connections. So I went to BC. I went to Simon Fraser University in Vancouver and I did just that. So I did my thesis on an intergenerational program for younger individuals who didn't have access to their grandparents or didn't have grandparents, and older adults who didn't have grandchildren or didn't have access to their grandchildren. So I was able to study that and really get into the nitty-gritty on the impacts and the outcome and the really important ingredients for a successful program such as this. And so I was able to, from my experience in my childhood, to be able to reflect on that exposure and really try and learn why this is necessary and how we can make this possible for people who might not have this organically in their lives. And now I work in a role that doesn't necessarily include intergenerational aspects directly, but definitely indirectly. And so that's why I wanted to join this community of practice to kind of keep that alive and keep that just moving and always in the back of my head, because it's so passionate. It's something I'm so passionate about. So that's a bit about my story. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out, but I was really happy to be here and share a little bit about it. Thank you.
Wow. Aren't you just, I have no words. When I hear young people being so passionate about working, not just working with older people, but working in the intergenerational field. And so our theme is, how do intergenerational friendships and relationships impact their career choices? You just heard from two. And you heard us talking about George before. And I'm just going to, I know we've only got a few minutes left, but let me just read a little bit. Quite a few years ago, he wrote a story about his experience. And he started, I'll summarize part of it and then I'll read part of it. He started in our intergenerational programs when I was working for an organization called Linkages. And so he started in high school. He was in the intergenerational program in high school for 3 years. And he also volunteered at this care center where that Clara was talking about. And then when he went to university, U of C, he realized they had a club there. So he joined that. And then he became the president of the club there. And then he was just so fascinated about going into medicine. And his long-term goal is doing research to try to find a cure for dementia. Just because, kind of like Clara, what Clara was saying. So I'm just going to read a little bit. I'm going to read his words just to emphasize how important these intergenerational relationships are. Okay. He talks about in grade 11, his first time having the chance to interact with someone a lot older than me. I was nervous in the beginning, but getting to know my senior friend was amazing. It was a rough time in my life. I was super stressed about school and deciding what to go into in university, but she always had faith in me. I remember she would always say, I know you're going to be great. And it was amazing having someone always cheering for me. And then he said, actually, it was the reason I decided to go on the path that I am now. My senior friend was in dementia care center. And even though it was moderate, I saw how dementia had a profound impact on her life. And that, I'm skipping a few, like I'm jumping, okay? But he was compelled to decide to pursue an honors degree in neuroscience. And then he talks about the opportunity to become president of the chapter of the club at the university. And he said, the leadership and collaboration skills I learned from that were invaluable. I also got to meet numerous new senior friends from the community all these years. So my communication and ability to connect really grew. All of these events ultimately culminated in me wanting to become a physician. I knew I wanted to be someone that takes care of others, just like all the amazing staff and volunteers I saw both at Linkages and at Bethany. I loved connecting and talking to all my senior friends, and I wanted a career where I get to do that daily. And what better career path that gives me all that but healthcare and medicine. So this was before he had chosen where he is now. So right now, I think he is in med school. He's doing an internship in Ontario, and he's on his way. And it all started because of an intergenerational program. So hopefully this is encouragement to all of you. Keep doing the good work that you're doing, because look at the impact. And we're just talking about the impact on youth. I bet if we had a bunch of older adults here, we would hear about the impact on them. But we wanted to show you how this can impact their career choices. And you know what? Our population, I forget the stats, but we've got a lot of older adults that are going to be graduating. They're going to be over 65, and healthcare, and we need people in healthcare. So isn't this amazing? So any comments from any of you? Maybe you have had experiences. Yes, Chantal.
Yeah. So I am actually from India, but I came to Canada in 2003. And I remember when I was growing up, my grandma was with us in our family home. And we were like 5 siblings. And she died when she was 99. And her whole life we spent with her. So it was amazing. I remember now, like how we used to massage her legs, and when she used to have pain, she used to ask us to massage and all those things. And when she went to do gardening, we were following her. And now I remember all those things. I do my gardening just like her, and those are the things. When I was listening to her, I was like thinking how fortunate we were to get all those things just for granted. People take it for granted, but now I remember it was such a good thing, a blessing, I guess.
I agree. What a blessing. And in a lot of cultures,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that. And here in North America, we're just not like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did take up pharmacy there, and I was a pharmacist back home, and I came and did my recreation therapy here. And when I went to work with the long-term care facilities, I saw the difference, and I could see how much they were longing for such a life. And then I took up this business. I started doing this home care business, and I can help so many people now.
Good for you. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
So Betty, are you going to put up the survey?
Yeah, I was just waiting to see if anybody else had anything to say. Okay, let me find the survey link. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a few minutes. I put a link in the chat box. And it's just short. If you wouldn't mind taking 3 or 4 minutes just to fill that out, to give us your feedback. And also, I think there's a question in there about topics going forward. So we're always looking for topics that will be of interest to hopefully everybody, not every topic is interesting for everybody, but give us some examples of what you would like to see. Okay, so I'll just stop talking and give you a few minutes to fill that out.
So while you're finishing off your surveys, I just want to give you a little tidbit of what I've just learned recently of the top 10 reasons to join intergenerational activities from a teen's point of view. And the third one out of 10 is career and college boosts, whether it's gaining leadership skills, connections, or understanding that that's the career that you want to follow after you've taken part in intergenerational activities during your teen years.
Hi, this is Paula. I just thought you might find this interesting that the Seniors Advocate for BC just released a report on aging, I forget the title of it, ageism, and a survey they did. And they also, I noticed on the report that the last line in the news release, so it got into the higher level communication, was valuing intergenerational programs. So there's a little bit of a groundswell, so that's exciting.
I'm talking away and realize I'm muted. Thanks for sharing that. And Jane, thanks for sharing yours too. Almost 2 years ago, I was at an intergenerational conference, and I heard they had a panel discussion, and there's a man named Tony Brown from Los Angeles, and he directs, I think it's an intergenerational band or choir. And one thing that he said, I just can't get out of my mind. He said, show me an intergenerational problem. No, show me a problem. I'll show you an intergenerational approach to solve it. And so, Paula, you mentioned like ageism. I think if young people and older people can connect more, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we're facing right now. Yeah, and our last UFC club met last Friday night, and one of the women, I said to her, what does this club mean to you? Because it's an apartment building, and they're all, you have to have a low income to live there. And the university students go once a month to spend a Friday evening with them. And this woman said to me, I don't feel as socially isolated. And she used those words, and that's exactly what we're trying to combat. So, okay, thank you for filling out the feedback form. And we decided to do an impromptu, like it was like, wow, Global IG Week is coming up. It's from April 24th till April 30th. And we don't have anything across Canada that's planned, but we decided, why don't we just do a cafe? So on Tuesday, April 29th, we're just having a cafe. There's nothing planned as yet. If you have any ideas, shoot me an email. We just thought, let's find out what's happening around Canada and around the world and talk about Global IG Week. And it's globally, like there's Paula, when you said it's kind of, what did you use the word sweep? Intergenerational work, it's still not growing as fast as we want it to, but it definitely is growing around the world. So come and join us. I'll send you a follow-up email probably tomorrow, and I'll include the recording of this because you probably want to hear Clara talk again. And so I'll send you a recording, and I'll send you the registration link. Okay. So any last comments from anybody? If not, just want to say thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time today. Sorry, I went 5 minutes over, but hopefully we'll see you on April 29th. Deanne, did you want to make a comment?
Nothing specific,
Oh,
just thank you. This is great, Betty.
thank you. Thank you. Okay. See you
Thank you.
hopefully April 29th.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.